Hello, everybody. Tina Hogan Grant. I am here doing another Cuppa and a Natter. We did this last week with Tikiri Herath, and we had issues with Facebook. So we are doing it again, and I am so happy that you came back to chat with me again. And hopefully, we don't have any issues this time.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
I've given a sacrifice to the tech gods. But no, I'm kidding. I think we should be fine. Either way, this is delightful to come again and chat with you again.
I am so looking forward to it. So how have you been in the last week that I saw you? How have you been? What have you been up to in the last week?
I've been doing great. I've tried to hit 5,000 word of edit counts per day. The edit's not full writing, so it's a little easier. And you know what's interesting? I don't know if, Tina, you've gone through this, but you write the first draft and you're sure it's the worst book you've ever written in the entire world. And then when you go back and edit it, you think it's not that bad. It's doable. It's salvageable. So I'm feeling good about it. But I think I worked for too many days, so I needed a little break today. I only edited 2,500. So after this, I'm getting back to my task.
Your task. Yeah, I'm going through that right now. This week, I'm determined to finish the first draft of my next book. That's my goal. I want to get it done. And like you, I'm kind of going back and forth, but you probably noticed the same thing. Each book that I write, I mean, I'm always dreading going back to see what I read because I can't remember what I wrote 3 months ago. I just keep writing. I don't go back and edit while I'm writing. I just keep writing. What I'll do is I'll read the last chapter that I wrote just to bring me up to date in the story. But then I go back and I'm dreading, like, oh my God, what did I write in the last 3 months? And I'm finding that it's actually not, like you said, not so bad. It seems to be getting better and better. And the edits seem to be getting easier.
Yeah. Isn't that funny how we kind of we think that we're not as good as, I guess there's a bit of an imposter syndrome there, maybe. I know that's what I go through.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, we're always our worst critics. We are always our worst critics. And it's very anxious time for me, no matter how many books I've written, waiting for that feedback from the early reviewers.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
Before it even goes, oh my God, I'm going to,
Yeah, it's for me a week of beta reader, just waiting for the first person to comment and write back to me. But congratulations on your next book. That's nice that it's almost finished. Like that
almost. I'm not I mean, I admire you. You're a great, inspiration for me that you write 5,000 words a day, or that's your goal. My goal is 1,000. So, I mean, my day's not over with until I reach that 1,000. And, I'll break it up. I might write maybe 400 or 500 in the morning or whatever the mood is. Because I do have to go to work too. I work full time, so I have to do that too. So then
how do you do that?
I know. It's insane. I no longer have a life. But if I come home and I have to write 300 or 400 words, then I don't go to bed until that's done. My day is not over with. So that's why it's 1,000. But one day, one day, I'll get to 5,000.
That's super impressive because doing a full-time job, this is my full-time job. So I mean, 5,000 words is the least that I should be able to do. I should be really gunning for it. You can't waste your time. And it's if you decide it's your job, then you should give it your all, right?
Exactly. And even though it is not my full-time job, it is the ultimate goal to reach that and be my full-time job. I treat it as my second job. It's not a hobby. It is a job. Yeah. And that's why I have to discipline myself 1,000 words a day. And weekends is flexible, just like you. Yeah. You go with your weekends. If you have something planned, then I did my work for the week.
Yeah, you need that break.
Exactly. But I want to talk to you about your latest book, which is Merciless Pass.
Yes.
That just came out. When did that come out?
On February the 10th, I think.
And I hear it's doing really well. It's getting great reviews.
Well, I got a BookBub feature deal and some promotions. So
they are hard to get.
They are. So I was really, I think the cover had a lot to do with it. I have a new cover designer for the new series. And I think so. My new series, for some strange reason, Tina, they've been getting accepted to BookBub feature deals. Not all, not the big ones, but sometimes the international ones. And this one got the full, how do you say, the full enchilada. And
international and US?
yeah, for free.
Nice.
So I gave it for free, and from what I see, there are about 40,000 plus downloads of the book for free. I don't get paid for it.
Right.
That is reaching out to 40,000.
It's the exposure. Some people complain about the price of BookBub, but the exposure is what it's great for. It's that exposure.
I think so.
I think
every time I've had one of these, I've broken even. So I've always, it's not lost money in the end of the day. It's exposure plus you get your money back within at least by 5 days, I've made my money back. So I always feel like it's a really good.
And I'm sure it's also about discovery. You know, I'm a reader, and we're all readers, and there's a book that I enjoyed, I will go back and look at other books from that author.
Right. That's so true. And that's future. Hopefully it's coming. Cross my fingers.
You always got to look ahead, and ways to expose our work, and hopefully they like the book they read. They're going to go back and find your other books. So I think it's
right.
Congratulations. And I saw you hit number 1, not just in the US.
Yeah, I was just flabbergasted. Like US, Canada, UK, Australia. It just I looked at it in the morning. And I guess Australia doesn't wake up until, because they're in tomorrow, right? Yeah. So they're in tomorrow. As soon as they got up at 7:30, I started to see it slowly climb up. But this is in the free list, and it's number 1 across. And I took screenshots like crazy and saved it for myself. And then I opened a tub of coconut vegan chocolate ice cream because I think
Right. You have every right to. And that's just a 24-hour window that you had the freebie. So to do it across the board in 24 hours, you got the reach. You totally got the reach, and you should be seeing, that effect from that one day for a few months. And then people picking up other books, and that's what we do. I haven't been on BookBub US, but I have done it internationally, and it went really well.
Awesome.
I'm going to try again for the US. But it's not easy. It's not easy. And they're not fond of books in KU for whatever reason. My book is in KU. Are you in KU?
I am. So this is why I think my cover made a difference. Yeah. And I think that and the blurb. So I bought Robert Ryan's book on copywriting for authors. And that's how I put my little blurb together. And I think it's those two, because I'm sure they don't read the entire book. But they look at the blurb, they look at the cover. Yeah. So I think, I'm guessing here, we don't know the inner workings of BookBub, but I'm presuming, given my last series, that they never accepted a book. They don't like it at all. And it's not written to market. But this one, it seems to be making a small difference. So
great. Congratulations. I want to pause for just a minute. We have a lot of people joining us. So I do want to pop in and say hello to a few people. And then we're going to just talk about the background of the book and more detail of the book. But I want to thank you guys for checking in again. If we have any issues, do let us know. But I'm seeing that we are on Facebook. So we're holding steady. I appreciate Tikiri coming back. And I just want to say hi to Peggy. Peggy Patterson is here. Karen Wright. Darlene Johnson. Amanda Reynolds, Barbara Miller, Lisa Turley, Cinda Unruh, all kinds, Lori Chasco, Renee Simmons, all here to hear about your books, Tikiri.
Oh, can
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just want to say hello to everybody and thank you so much for coming back. And I feel terrible that you didn't hear us last time. It was a wonderful chat. Got to know Tina, and hopefully Tina got to know me. But it's lovely to see everybody. Thank you for being here.
Well, we were streaming fine on YouTube. YouTube was fine, but it just was not streaming to Facebook for whatever reason. So some of them figured out how to go to YouTube and watch this from there. But a lot of us just missed out because we just disappeared into cyberspace from Facebook. It's just like poof, we were gone. But if you have any questions for Tikiri, go ahead and put them in. Hey, Kathy's here too. Kathy Yeho, she's here too. Put them in the comments. I'll try and get to as many as I can. We're talking tonight about Tikiri's latest book, Merciless Past. What genre is this book?
It's I call it mystery thriller, women's
Okay.
sleuth. So on Amazon, it goes very easily into the women's sleuth genre, but it's not cozy mystery, and it's not just plain thriller. It's think of Agatha Christie on steroids. On
Oh, I like that description.
with a younger female detective and her sidekick Watson. Instead of Watson, it's this lovely Irish Canadian woman who gives a balanced thought to everybody. And Watson is always the person who doesn't. He's portrayed as not as intelligent as Sherlock Holmes. But in my case, I give Katie the intelligence, and she just brings Asha, my main protagonist, and she just pulls her back when there's danger, and Asha's just running headlong. She's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get it," and Katie's the mother. She has a child, so she's a little more balanced. She goes, "Watch it, think twice." Good balance.
Okay, what brought up the idea for this book? What triggered the story for this book?
So for this one, the series, the idea that triggered the series is because I've read, I think, every Agatha Christie book twice.
Oh, wow.
As a child, like, I
Wow.
grew up. I think I
Mhm.
mentioned last time that I grew up traveling quite often, moving. And when
Right.
you move often, it's hard to make friends. So books were my only friends, really. And you take that. I'm the kid in the library with the nose in the book because nobody knew me, nobody wanted to talk to me. And then a couple of years later, we'd move somewhere else. So I think that really triggered the entire series. But this book, I mentioned earlier, I know your son is from Washington. He was born in Washington
Board of
State.
Washington State, yeah.
And
Edmund.
okay, I don't think I've been there. I was at the base of the White Mountains with a
Okay.
bunch of work colleagues, and we decided to go hike up and down and check that box in our bucket list. And the scenery, and it's fantastic. It's just stimulates. And this was years ago, more than a decade ago.
Yeah, this was my son was born in 85, so that's when I
Oh,
was in
okay.
Seattle. Yeah.
I think I went in probably early 2000s.
Okay.
So yeah. So yeah, it was just beautiful. The chalets, the the scenery, and it just stimulated this idea of, imagine we came across bears, from far. But I was thinking, imagine finding a dead body as we hiked up and down. And so the our mindset as mystery thriller authors can get a bit macabre, but and so that has been just percolating in my head, and I had to write this story about dead body on the mountains near a ski chalet, and so the story grew. At
And
the
that
end of
was it. Now, when you get to, do you, wherever you go, do you one of those authors that have a notepad? I mean,
No,
about
you? I don't.
I did for a while, but I just kept it wouldn't fit in my purse, number one, so I had to keep carrying this loose notepad. It became awkward. Then I tried using my phone to write notes, and I could never find them. And then I was talking to another author a while back, and I can't
Yes.
remember who it was, but she told me that she emails her ideas, and I thought that was a brilliant idea.
Oh wow.
I don't write a whole paragraph, just a few little jotted notes to trigger that idea that I had, and it works great. And then
Wow.
I have a file in my emails, ideas.
It's very cool. I might, if I may, borrow that.
Oh, I stole it from her, and now I'm passing it on.
Thank you. But I think I find that for me, ideas come. I think we talked about this last time. Ideas are a dime a dozen. It's just my problem is I have too many ideas. Like for the next book, Merciless Debts, I was watching a movie about a heist. It was just a plain thriller, a bunch of bank robbers going in, and then bad things happen to them, they get caught. But I was watching that going, people break into banks and vaults to get very valuable things out. What if someone breaks into a bank vault to put something very valuable in,
And,
and then
nice twist.
triggered a story, which is the one I'm editing right now. And I can't talk too much about it to
Of
give the
course.
twist away, but it was, so it's like I just kind of have to watch a movie, look around me, and then this thing comes to. I live in a. Sorry, I'm talking too much here, but I have to say this. I live in a seaside little town with. It's called White Rock. We have a huge, immense white rock. It's all white, and it's on the beach. And there's a native Aboriginal story about how that White Rock came to being, about a princess and her lost lover, and how she found him as a rock. The story is beautiful, but I can't help but wonder, what if as I run to the beach every Sunday, what if there's a dead body splayed out on that white rock? It's a beautiful white rock, so imagine the red blood. Sorry, guys.
That's what you got. But I like that every time you have an idea, it involves a dead body. There's got to be that dead body.
Oh, you gotta have it. That's murder mystery for you. Otherwise, I was reading somewhere, the stakes have to be high, and it has to be the death of a human being, which is the worst thing that can ever happen. And hopefully,
it makes for a good story. And that's what you write. It's the mystery, it's the murder, it's the follow up. It's just everything about it. You must have some crazy dreams too with dead bodies.
That's the thing. I don't remember my dreams, so maybe you do.
Maybe you do. Now, getting back to all your books, not just Merciless Past, we were talking about writing the notes and everything. Okay, we mentioned this last time. You're not a pantser. You actually plot your entire book.
Absolutely.
From beginning to end.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I tried pantsing once, but it took me about maybe 4 or 5 months to figure out. So to me, a pantser, or I like to call pantsers gardeners versus architects.
That makes sense. Yeah, I like that. That's
nice. So for gardeners like yourself, I'm in awe. I feel like you keep the entire story in your head, while I have to put it in. I feel like my brain can't contain the whole thing. I have to put it out and write it out. Now, it doesn't mean I don't change the plot.
Right. But you kind of have, the bones of it.
Right. And especially for a murder mystery, there are some very particular things that you need to hit. Otherwise, it's not a murder mystery, and readers are not satisfied. So you have to have, for example, a dead body, and you have to have more than one victim. You have to have the red herrings, and you need to escalate the stakes. So all of these things are required, and I don't know if I could just purge it out of me properly. So having those set points helped me to create a story that meets all the reader expectations, and then I put all the fun stuff in as I write it. And it does change. Like, I'm making some major changes in the next book, the float home book, where there's also a bank heist and all that.
So I'm assuming, because you plot your books, you already know who the villain is, the bad person is, the victim is, and I guess knowing all that and plotting it, you can develop the character and drop the clues.
Absolutely. And I think that's important in a murder mystery, where it is so hard to build the clues. It's almost like you're building a 4D puzzle in the sky. You have to. I mean, if you can do a murder mystery and I know people do this, I think they're geniuses, beyond geniuses, because to do all that and create a very coherent picture while keeping the reader on their feet and making them guess, that is, to me, it is probably one of the most difficult genres to write, from my point of view. I mean, I've tried all sorts of little things. I've tried to put romance in, easy, but I just can't do a good kissing scene. Even my editor laughs at my kissing scene. She goes, "Tikiri, you need to date more often." Or
you also have the background for writing mysteries. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because for me, to write a murder mystery, I have no idea how any of the agencies work, and I would just mess it up completely. So, but with your background, you can, I'm sure you can tell through your writing that you do know, about this dead bodies.
well, not in. I have never killed anybody.
No.
Yeah, no, I understand. I worked for the Intelligence Agency of Canada, one of them, because every country has more than one. Maybe people don't know about it, but they anyway. So I grew up as soon as I finish university, they come and knock on universities and say, "We will take the top 10 students, what have you." I applied. They took me in, gave me a top secret clearance, and I was like, wow. But it was really eye opening. I got to learn how in Canada we have the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, which is kind of like your FBI, the American FBI,
Mhm.
and then we have local police forces. So I got a chance, because I worked in risk management, got a chance to talk and work with that security level, also understand how a bureaucracy works, how a small police station works. Those are things that I think
Right.
I'm exposed to. I was working at the national level, but I also managed projects for the Canadian Coast Guard and Department of Fisheries and Oceans, which is very local. So then you get an idea of how do small cities and towns operate, and how do their infrastructure works, and how their bureaucracies work. And that really helped. So when I talk about a police officer, or my protagonist working with a police officer, some of the challenges the police stations and or the law enforcement might face, and also the internal bureaucracy, office politics, I got that down packed. I lived with it for 18 years. But even more so, I think, because I worked in I shouldn't probably be saying too much about this, but I worked in the intelligence field. It's all about solving puzzles. It's and this is not the James Bond kind of thing. This is more on the internet, on the online front, but it's
Right.
all about finding out. They said X. Did they mean X, or do they mean Y? What is their next step? What does this mean in the bigger picture, in the geopolitical arena? What does this mean? And then I also did, my main job was risk management for the federal government. So I would look at future, past, present circumstances, and some of it you are guessing, because we don't have a crystal ball to say,
Right.
what are we going to face in the future that we might want to mitigate today. And these are very difficult, highly subjective conversations, but I think every credible governance organization must have, if you're taking care of a country, if
Right.
it's for the security and safety and longevity of a country. So I think all of that has helped me to create a puzzle. um,
I would say so. You've got all kinds of background that you can use in books. And you left all that behind to become a writer.
I did because of the bureaucracy. I think I am too independent, too much of a black sheep.
Oh, no.
My family would agree. They'll go, "No, she's the odd one out." But I think I'm not. I like to look further. I like to do my own thing. I like to have control.
Okay.
So it's very hard when you're a little cog in the wheel. And here I want to make a difference. I want to, and creativity. It's not something you get.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, we probably have that seed within us, but we have to, let that seed out there and use it. We probably have this desire to be more creative. Did you continue to work while you were writing, or did you just quit and say, "I'm going to be a writer"?
Well, I moved across. I went through a divorce, and I moved across the country. I think it's 5,000 kilometers across Canada, and I was working part time. I was working full time, but from remotely. I had the best boss in the world when I left, and I told her, I'm going through a lot of changes. I have decided I want to take a sabbatical. And she said, if you're going to make a change in your life, you need to do it systematically. Don't just dump everything and go. And this wise woman, I respect her. She's wonderful. The kind of boss we all should have, right? We all need to have. And she said, take it easy, go over there and work remotely. I was managing a very large scale national project. And the nice thing was, a lot of that money from my project was in British Columbia. So they said, go there and figure out what those people are doing, because you're the project manager. Figure it out, because you're managing hundreds of millions of dollars across an entire country, and you're sitting in your ivory tower in the capital city. So for them, it was a bonus. So
Right.
I came over here and I did as much as I could. And after 2 years, I was getting tired, and I think my boss changed, and my new very, very senior manager said, Tikiri, I know you had an arrangement before, but the money now is moving to the east. There's more money coming from the federal government to the east. So you got to either your office is here, you come here, or you figure it out. And this was the hardest thing. I remember my stomach was crunched and I didn't want to work there anymore. And I remember saying, no, I'm not coming. And then I put the phone down, said goodbye. I don't burn bridges. But I remember walking around my little building, my condo building, going, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that.
And that was it.
That was it. And the funniest thing was there's a very large shipbuilding company here in the West Coast. And they were at the same time looking for somebody with risk management qualifications. I probably shouldn't say too much about it, but they called me at the same time through LinkedIn and said, we hear you are in British Columbia and your qualifications are, there's very few people. Everyone's in Alberta in the oil fields or back east. And they called me twice. And I said no to them, and they were offering me twice the money of my existing job. And that I ran around the building like an idiot, pulling my hair, going, I said no to them too. But you know, Tina, the reason I said no is my gut was screaming, saying no. And I trusted it for the first time in my life.
You always say, listen to your gut.
And it's the best thing I've ever, I'm, you know, it was lots of big money, a good pension, but I'm happier.
There you go. That's what matters. And how many books have you written?
15 plus.
Congratulations. And that's in how many years?
5 years now.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, 5 and a bit.
So you're doing what, like 2 to 3 books a year?
Yeah.
Congratulations. I want to read the description of Merciless Past. We haven't shown the cover yet. Do you have that available for our readers to see? We were talking about it earlier.
Yes.
Because it is a great cover.
I am excited to show. So I have it in my iPad. So I hope.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Oh, sorry, I'm not doing a good job, am I?
That's a beautiful cover. Now, did you design the cover or have any say in the cover? Or?
No, I just told. I have the most. I'm very lucky, very fortunate to find an amazing cover design team, and I just tell them here are some of the covers in this genre. And this is the setting. It's the New Hampshire, White Mountains in the winter. There's a chalet and there's a murder, and make it ominous, make it scary, like something bad is going to happen. And so that's all I have to tell you.
They nailed it.
I think they did a fantastic job.
Yeah, really good job. You should be pleased.
Every time I got a couple of times when the project manager called me and said the designer is sick, and my stomach falls. I'm like, please.
Now, this is a series, correct? Is that what you said? It's not a standalone. And this is book 1, or is a?
This is book 5.
Book 5, and you're currently working on book 6.
Yes.
You know how many is going to be in the series, or you just keep going?
For this new series, I think I would like to make it 9 because I do have an overarching small subplot that I'd like to wrap up. Small but juicy, but I think it's also one that can continue because it's just the mystery always wraps up. It's like a typical Agatha Christie. You have the detective, right, the mystery, the villain, and it happens in different places. So depending on if readers like it or not, if people say, yes, I want more, I will write more. But
it's the same detective in each book?
Yes, it is.
They get to know that character better and better and better through each book. I love series like that.
Yeah.
All right, I am going to read the description that's on Amazon. And then I think I'm going to take a little pause and take some questions. I'm totally ignoring our readers that are watching us.
No, my goodness me.
I will take some questions after I read the description. So, okay, it was here. Okay, hold on. There it is. Okay. A white winter wedding, red blood on her veil. Evil is closer than she thinks. Private investigator Aisha Cade gets a surprise invitation from an old friend in New Hampshire. Victoria has found true love. Aisha can't wait to see her again and meet the groom she's been gushing about, a man Victoria's known for only 6 months. But as a trafficked survivor, Aisha knows to trust her instincts. The minute she arrives at the private ski chalet where the wedding would take place, she realizes something is wrong. Something is wrong with this place. Something is wrong with Victoria. When Aisha discovers the first body, she knows she has stumbled on a dark family secret worth killing for. Who is the killer seated among the wedding guests? Who will they go after next? Ooh. Very good and very intriguing. That makes you want to look inside the book.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's good to know. Thank you. You spoke it out so beautifully.
Oh, thank you.
Much
Thank
more
you.
than I could.
Sometimes I feel that I'm reading it too fast.
No, actually, no. You did really well.
Oh, well, thank you.
The intonations are the right tone too.
That is good to know. I saw some questions here I want to pop up on the screen for you. And then I want to talk a little bit about your nonfiction books. Hold on, I'm scrolling. I did see them. Give me just a minute. I did. Okay, here's one. This is from Darlene. How did you come up with your characters' names?
Oh my God! My answers are always so long. So kick me in the shins if I if I carry on. All my characters in this new murder mystery book, they also are in my first. I call it the origin story book, and that book is all about a group of young women and men who get together. These are human traffic survivors, and who go out there and then they take revenge and they get back at the people who hurt them, and they bring justice, and they save other young children and victims as well. That story was kind of from the belly, from the heart, from the soul. And when I put that together, I wanted to make the names for each and one of them. um, the way I chose the names were, I looked at the countries they came from. So my Ukrainian protagonist, the badass Ukrainian woman who fought the Russian militia, her name is Tetiana Shevonka. I'm not pronouncing it right. I should know this, but I know it's terrible. I chose a name because it's a journalist in Ukraine who stood up against corruption, and then she was gunned down in the middle of the night going home from her job. So, I mean, these and the other names as well, they represent human rights, people who stood up for what's right, like that Ukrainian journalist. And I thought I'm going to put her in my book so that to respect what the work she did, because not many people have heard it. But I don't talk about this, but at least I know.
You know the history of that name and why you use it. And it's a great answer when people ask.
Oh,
it really is.
Because that way. But yeah.
Sometimes I get, I go through baby name sites or, something like that. So I love this answer.
Well, Asha Kate, the protagonist's name was different. And she was, I think she was named after a woman in India who stood for women's rights. And that's one country where women's rights still have far to go. So I did, but people had a hard time saying it, remembering it, spelling it. So then I changed it to a very easy Asha Kate, which I
pronounced it good, I think. So
no.
There's a name in a book that I know I can't pronounce properly. I kind of just pronounce it in my head the way,
it
sounds good to me. It doesn't have to be right or what the author meant me to say, but that's what I'll keep saying in my head if I'm reading the book. So as long as I don't have to read it out loud.
Exactly. And it's funny though, my bad guys in the book, some of them have very long, unpronounceable names, and some of the reviews when I read them, this is really cute. I love my readers from the bottom of my heart. They write things like, that guy W whatever. I'm not even going to remember his name because he's such a nasty, mean character. I'm so glad you killed him off. I love that W whatever. Who cares? And I feel the same way. Who cares?
Who cares? Give him the worst name.
Exactly.
And so with characters, I have another question for you from Laurie. Who's your favorite character, or which one, if there is one, that's more like you?
Oh, my favorite character I mentioned last time was Madame Bouchard. I think I was saying earlier that there aren't enough older female characters in movies and books, and we seem to vilify us women as we grow older. We get wrinkles, and then we're not seen anymore.
Right.
And so I wanted to have very strongly a woman who was a septuagenarian. She's tall. She's a no nonsense attitude. Even when she's in a corner, she's a woman who will never give in, and someone with a strong character that people are, even the police chief is scared of her.
I
Diplomat.
love it.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Now, it doesn't mean she's always nice. She does do things that
But she's not someone you mess around with.
no, no. And I love that character because I want to aspire to be her when I'm 70, Tina, because I think there aren't enough women for us to look up to in the 70s or what have you. Say, now there's a strong, I mean, there are quite a few, but I don't think they're enough. So I thought I'd create for myself this amazing character. And I think I told you the story last time. I had this woman in my mind. I put her exactly in the book the way I thought, and I've written a couple of books. And then I was at the National Arts Center in Ottawa and waiting by the bathroom for one of my girlfriends to join me outside so we can go back to our musical. And across the passageway walks this woman in a white Chanel pantsuit with white pearls, with her gray hair swirled up, and I'm sitting there with goosebumps, feeling like
that was her.
That's her. That's exactly how I described her. And Ottawa is it's the capital city of Canada, so it's a diplomatic community. And I'm thinking that must be in the Russian ambassador's wife or mother. I don't.
Should have given her a book and said, "You're in this book."
She'll probably call security, but
Oh.
I stood there with my jaw up, and my girlfriend came out and she said, "What's wrong?" And I couldn't even get the words out to explain. It was that freakily weird. It was really, really strange. I don't know it's just impossible, the odds.
Yeah, but I think that's great. Okay, Renee has a question for you. She wants to know, how old were you when you had your first book published?
Oh, I was 40 something. Well, how old was I? 40. I like to think I'm younger than I am.
We are old.
Yeah. In 2018? No, 2017 was when I put my first prequel up. 2018 was when I first published the book. So I was in my mid 40s.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was 50. How old was that? 2018. I was 50, 54, 55.
Oh, wow. We both published in the same year.
2018 was my debut, but I haven't written 15 books yet.
But you work full time.
I do. Yeah. I'm writing book number 9.
So. Oh, wow. Oh, that's amazing.
So I'm pleased with that. But
that is really, really good. How many people write a book in 10 years?
My dad, he was a science fiction author. He had a contract for 1 a year. But back then in the 70s, also, the publishing was such a different habit. There was no internet. There was no self-publishing. There was no Kindle. Yeah. And he got a contract to write 1 book a year, and that's all he did. He didn't have to go out there and market it or anything like that. And my dog is starting to be a pain. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's completely different. So, but that was his full-time career. And he wrote 36 books, 1 a year.
Yeah. I'm curious. I actually have a question for everyone else. Do you expect writers to put books more often out? Or if we write a book a year, would that be good enough? I'm curious.
That's a great question. Yeah, go ahead and put it in the comments and we'll check it out. Is 1 book a year enough? Or do you like them to come out every week? No. Like 2 or 3 times a year. So yeah, let us know in the comments. I do want to talk a little bit about, we covered this last time and it just fascinated me, the Rebel Diva books. These are nonfiction. And even Renee, I think it was Renee, she mentioned them in the comments. I don't even know if I can find it again. She mentioned they were badass. I think it was Renee. I might be wrong. I apologize if it was somebody else, but it did catch my, here it is right here. If your new book has half as much action as The Red-Heeled Rebel, it has got to be awesome.
Oh, thank you, Renee.
No, the Rebel Diva books are badass. She didn't put it in there, but I was thinking it. So. But they are nonfiction, and give us a little background on those.
Oh, sure. They're like totally different from my regular books. But I wrote the nonfiction books because I was making a huge transition from corporate life to my author life, and it did take quite a few iterations, and so these books were really written so I could make sense of my own changes in life. And when a woman, I mean, I was hitting my when I hit my when I hit 40, I look back at my career and I thought this is not really what I want to do. This is not fulfilling. It pays me well. It's an amazing job. And from someone like myself, I mean, I started off at 19 as an immigrant girl in Canada. I mean, I traveled around the world with my family, but it was and I was very glad. I always had food on the table and a roof over my head, but it was a little toxic inside the family. So and it was very just verbally and emotionally very difficult. So I thought I need to get out of this very difficult and toxic environment and free myself. So at 19, I got to, I left home and I was standing in a bus stop in Vancouver with a suitcase. Of course, it was full of books and just a few clothes. And I was going to make it out on my own. I was 19, an adult in a free country, finally, after having lived around the world. And I stood there and I realized, oh my God, I didn't really think this through because I had nowhere to sleep that night. So all that, girl power, go kind of dissipated very quickly. And then the fear set in. But I took the first bus. I was so lucky. It was a bus to the university district. And I found myself a tiny basement place where I promised some kids that clean their toilet if they just let me stay on. and until I find a job. I mean, these are university kids, so they're welcoming. And so that's how I started my adult life, which was really scary. And I bootstrapped myself from there to working for the federal government. I got 2 degrees, and all of that was survival. I never want to stand at a corner bus stop with a suitcase full of books, not knowing
nowhere to go.
I can't have that happen. So it was a lot of I gotta get myself financially and independent as much as I can. Even though I was married, I paid half my house. I did everything on my own. Very. And but I think it was a lot of push that I realized, wait a minute, I'm scaling the wrong mountain. And that's what made me want to switch. And so when my ex-husband got a diplomatic position in Europe, and so that really, when your stable life gets shaken up, all of a sudden you're in a new country with new things thrown at you. It was a very beautiful experience, but I just stood up and said, what do I want to do with my life? And it really came to a crux when my ex-husband had a motorcycle accident and he was in a coma for a while. And again, the questions were, what if tomorrow is never guaranteed? Life is a gift. And what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And so made the decision to switch. And those books really are to help me cope through all those changes and to look back at my childhood and my past and say, what is it that I learned from all these pivots? And then put it into some coherent language and structure that would help me make the next transition easier. And then I thought, well, I got them for myself. I'm just going to turn them into workbooks with questions and diagrams and fun quotes and share it with the rest of the world. And maybe it might help another young girl who's standing at a bus stop.
Oh, I'm sure they have. I'm sure. I mean, talk about inspiration for a lot of people. I mean, it's just amazing. And then, we're talking about the books being badass. And I just want to go over some of the things you did, which I did cover in the last chat that we had. But you have done a lot of amazing things. And you're a very small woman. I mean, you're tiny. But some of the things you have done, like you have done rock climbing, you've done bungee jumping.
Yes.
You've ridden on the back of a motorcycle.
I should say my husband drove. I was in the back, but it was like nonstop. So
how many you do kilometers? How many miles is that?
Well, Quebec is one of the biggest provinces in Canada. I think you fit like maybe 10 European nations into it. I don't know, several thousand, because we did it around.
I mean, me and my husband, we ride. I mean,
Oh,
he rides on the front, I ride on the back. I want to trike, but in the meantime, I ride on the back of his Harley.
yes.
But could not even imagine sitting on the back of a bike that long.
And it's a racing bike too, so it's not the beautiful Harleys where
you're leaning forward. You're not even
yeah. Yeah, it was hard because your body feels it, and sometimes my ex-husband would put his head, like it's a racing bike, right? It was a Yamaha R1, one of the fastest racing bikes in the world, and he's down there, and we're zooming. He's from Quebec, so he drives like a Quebecer, and I love Quebec. I was married to one, and I'm sitting in the back with that 100+ kilometer wind. It is really, it's like being on a racing track.
How long were you on the back of the bike for?
Well, we did that several times.
Not just once.
No, we did. I went on our honeymoon. That was the nicest, like the most beautiful trip I remember now. It was all through.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun. And I didn't think of it too much, except at night, your body is just aching.
I'm sorry, how long were you on the bike for?
The first time was a week. It was almost like a week like every few years or every year at some point. So a week or 2 weeks. And then we drive all the way back to Ottawa. And
do you still ride?
No, but I would love to get my own license. And I have my helmet, I have my gear. So I'd love to. How about you? Would you like to?
I want a trike. I don't want a motorcycle. I'd much rather have 3 wheels than not 2.
Oh,
I have a quad. That's my thing right now. And kayaking. I love kayaking. They're the 2 things that I really enjoy, and hiking. Yeah. But you have also flown in an acrobatic airplane upside down. Let's add that to the mix too.
I wasn't flying. That's one of my bucket lists. I want to get my flying license badly, but I was in Saint Martin with a couple of girlfriends. One of them was going through a divorce, so we thought we're going to go out there and enjoy ourselves. And I walked up to this remote place where they were renting planes, and my 2 girlfriends said, "We're not going in an acrobatic plane. We're going in the regular one just to see the island and take pictures." I was like, I'm not going to take pictures. I want to go upside down. I want to do the loops. I want to do it all. This older man, he didn't believe me. I'm a tiny 5 foot.
You are tiny.
and he looked like he very reticent. I don't, you could throw up. I don't want you freaking out kind of look. But I paid him the fee, and then he was quiet. He didn't like me. You could just feel it, right? And I got in, and then he did the loop, and I started giggling. And then he did more, and we both enjoyed it. So I get goosebumps talking about it. It is so.
The smile on your face, it just shines. The way that you speak about it, you can tell that you had a brilliant time. You're braver than me. You are, and then you've also parachuted solo.
Yes.
Which from the last chat, you want to do that again.
I do. I want to go higher. So
I know. The sky's the limit. Come on.
No pun intended.
Right. Oh Lord. Is there something you haven't done that you would like to do that's on that bucket list when it comes to badass daredevil stunts, I want to call them?
Well, I don't know if it's a stunt, and none of these are stunts really, because I feel like, I don't know.
You like the adrenaline rush, I can tell. You like.
Yeah, I do.
You must love roller coasters.
No, I don't. Do you know why? Because they're so unnatural. You're all going to laugh at me, but I feel like bungee jumping, and I feel like it's, of course it's not natural. It's all human made, but I feel like a roller coaster is just clickety clackety machinery, while like climbing a mountain or jumping off a plane, it seems authentically. This is really strange, and my brain is saying that doesn't make any sense, but it seems real and authentic. And when you bungee jump, you just got a cord on your on your ankles and you're just free falling. And I would never do that in a build up area. I like nature. So all the other things have nature built into it, right?
Right.
Bungee jumping off a quarry. I bungee jumped off a parasail into the Caribbean Ocean. The same time we went, like that was, so it's just beauty. It's just nature. And it's nature against you. And then you survive and you come out and you think you're invincible. Anything is possible. Quitting an amazing job, writing novels is doable.
Well, we create our own beautiful worlds in our
Yeah.
books. So,
Yeah.
and back to your book, I do want to pop this question up from Lisa Turley. She was asking if your books can be read as standalones, the series.
Yes, Lisa, they can be read as the second series can be read as standalone books, the Merciless Murder Mysteries. But my first series, I would really recommend reading them in order because there is a real important thread across. But the second series is written to be read as standalones, definitely.
That's good. I like that. I try and do the same with mine. I try not to leave too many cliffhangers or unanswered questions.
Yeah.
There's a few unanswered questions, but I do you write standalones too, or all your books are series?
All my books are series. But
Do you think you'll ever write just a standalone?
I don't know. I don't get ideas for just, I don't know. They seem to all fit into the series, existing series. And now I'm thinking of my next series. And it's funny, I'm just telling you right now, I'm thinking of it as a series. I don't know. It seems like a standalone is too simple,
Too short. I mean, I always when I write my books, it's just one book that ends up being a series.
Oh, really?
I always have more to say, so I don't even know if I'm capable of writing a standalone because I always want to continue on wherever I left off.
Me too.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
mhm. And then back to the Daredevils. Linda wants to know: is there anything you would not want to try?
Well, definitely the how do you say it? The mechanical stuff,
The roller coasters?
Yeah, the roller coasters. I mean, I've been on them, but they give me no pleasure. So I mean, I don't want to do that. Pardon me?
I said, why bother? Go for
Yeah.
it.
No, it just seems. I don't know. They don't give me anything. I don't know what else would I not do. Is so I do want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, which is
Ooh.
up in East Africa. So I want to go back and climb it. Machu Picchu, the Amazon. I want to see those. I would love to go to the Arctic. I live in Canada, so the Arctic isn't too far away.
You've traveled a lot. You have.
I haven't gone to the Arctic yet, but I would love to.
Yet.
Yes. So one thing that my ex-husband used to do, go scuba diving. He was a big scuba diver. That's the one thing that scared me. I've tried it. I kind of suck at swimming.
I love diving. I did do diving back when I was 20 to my 30s, and my son got certified when he was 14.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
So we all dove, and we dove for lobsters because we did commercial fishing for lobsters. So it's like, oh, we got to dive for lobsters too, you know.
Oh wow!
But I did enjoy it. But if I ever did, I haven't done it in 15, 20 years. If I wanted to go diving again, I would need to get recertified.
Right. But it wouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah. But you have been, but you weren't fond of it.
No, it's not that I wasn't fond of it. I don't know what it was, but I remember going down maybe about 20 feet down, and then something happened with my breathing, and then I told the guy I'm going up. My instructor was an 18-year-old kid, and he was very much like, no, this Quebec kid, we're going down, and you're going to enjoy it. And my ex-husband had disappeared with his partner by then. Like all the other divers had gone off doing their thing, and I was the newbie, and this kid. I don't know. He was pushing me, and then after a while, I was like, "No, I'm. You do this, right? Sorry, no. What did I? I don't remember the signals anymore."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was up. So I did go up, and he's such a sweet kid, though. I was in the boat trying to catch my breath, and he kept coming up with starfish and little animals saying, look what you can see at the bottom. And I was like, no, I think so I'm really embarrassed to say that because it's something I want to do. It's not that I don't want to do it, but I really, really, really want to do it. And maybe find a more mature teacher.
Yeah, next time, not an 18-year-old coach.
No, no, no. He was nice, but it was just a little rushed. That I needed to take time to go step by step.
Yeah,
but
that
I'm
was
in
one.
awe of anyone who's
If
going
you're
down.
not comfortable, especially underwater, 20 feet, he needs to respect that and, not argue. You want him to go back up, period. Otherwise you'll never go back in.
I know. But he was just young and totally just ready to. It's like, why don't you want to go down and see all the fish?
He was too young. Back to the books. I keep jumping back and forth here because I see Karen's question I want to put up. We said that your book is like Agatha Christie, murder mysteries. Do you read what you write?
Yes, I do.
Is that pretty much your favorite genre to read?
It's always been my favorite genre. Yeah, I've always read. I'm watching the Murdoch mystery series now. It's an old Canadian series. I love British murder mysteries. And I just wanted to clarify. I would hate to. I say it's Agatha Christie on speed, but I mean that Grande Dame. She's untouchable. I'm still a baby at this. I'm still learning. I mean, my books don't even compare any to hers, but it's kind of like the way she writes about detectives and mystery solving is like how I strive to write, and I love to read those kind of books
too. Because Karen was asking, I want to put this one up. She's asking, is there a genre you won't read, or is there one you dislike?
Because I read all kinds of books ever since I was a kid. I read the Gulag Archipelago by it's the Russian writer. Have you heard of that? It is about the Stalin era. It's about he's a demagogue. Putin is nothing compared to Stalin or Mao Zedong in China. So what we're seeing now. But I read that book at 8, and then again at 12. I think I think it really. Why am I telling you this? I liked it. No, I'm not even answering your question, Karen. I apologize.
Okay.
What genre would I not read? I'm only saying that Gulag Archipelago book because I read in all kinds of genres, but over the years, the genre I just can't get my head around is romance. I read the first 2 chapters and then I feel like I'm losing brain cells and I just want to close it. I don't know. It just doesn't
click with you.
No, it doesn't. We all have our preferences.
Yeah, mine is horror. I can't read horror.
Oh, me too. Oh, and counter
horror. And I'll read. I mean, my dad was a science fiction writer, but it's not one of my favorite genres. But I did read my dad's. But even with my dad's books, I would read a paragraph and be like, "Whoosh! I have no idea what you just wrote." Because you wrote about artificial intelligence, and it was way out of my zone of intelligence. So I'll pick up some science fiction, but it's even though my dad was a sci-fi writer, it's not one of my favorite genres. It's not bad.
Oh wow, I loved Isaac Asimov growing up, and Isaac Asimov lived in Sri Lanka, which is the island I was born in.
Isaac Asimov, I met him.
Oh, are you kidding me?
The thing is, I wish I was older because I was 14 at the time, and my dad. I used to go to WorldCon with him in New York, and we went to the science fiction convention there. And at this one table with my dad was Isaac Asimov, Lester Del Rey, Arthur C. Clarke.
Oh, you're kidding me!
Jerry Pournelle, and
Wow.
I did not fathom, who I was sitting at the table with until, I'm in my teens and I realized that I was with the Isaac Asimov. And I actually had
the Arthur C. Clarke.
And Arthur C. Clarke. And one of my prized possessions, when my father passed away, I went to Ireland. I went to Ireland to take care of his estate. And I was going through his files, and his first book was Inherit the Stars. And I found, apparently, Isaac Asimov was sent my dad's book. And there's a letter from Isaac Asimov signed from him saying, Arthur C. Clarke, move over. and it's signed by Isaac Asimov, and that
Wow.
is on the back of his book of Inherit the Stars,
Wow.
and I have it now framed, that letter,
Oh,
in my office. It's like
oh,
my prized possession, because now I realize who this Isaac Asimov is or was.
oh, wow. That is such a
Yeah,
beautiful story.
yeah. So I had no idea who I was amongst at 14
Wow.
years old. I just, they're a bunch of science fiction writers. A little bit more than that.
Oh my God, these are the giants of the
They are
giants.
the giants of
And
science.
not just sci-fi. I mean, I'm not a sci-fi big reader, but they're my like
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. And that's when my dad got into writing. I didn't mean to go up completely off topic here, but my father worked at artificial intelligence, and he read 2001 Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke.
Yeah.
He hated the ending. He
Oh,
didn't like the ending, and it really I can't remember it.
yes, the artificial
He
intelligence.
moaned about it for months in his office. And the office crew put up this bet and said, if you think you can do any better, why don't you write a book based on 2001?
Oh wow.
And that was Inherit the Stars, his first
I
book.
have to read that. I have to read that. Is your dad's name Hogan as well?
Yeah, James B. Hogan. James B. Hogan.
I have
But
to.
that's how he got into writing. He's always loved to write as a hobby. But when he got that bet, and they said, you got to get it published with an agent or whatever back in the 70s within a year. And that's what he did. And the book was sold, and they gave him a contract to write the second book.
Wow.
And then after 3 years, he quit where he worked, DEC, and became a full-time writer.
Oh my God.
Totally off topic. But
no, but what a fascinating story. And you touched one of the greats.
Isaac Asimov. But it's after 6 hour, but I know I'm having so much fun talking to you. I could talk for another hour.
I know.
But I do need to wrap it up, and I want to just hand it over to you and talk about your giveaway.
Yes.
And then I'm going to do a giveaway too. But let me hand it over to you to do that.
Oh well, I have my first book in both series. Tina, I'd love to give give 2 books each, maybe. Of the first, so in the Red Heel Rebels, it's an international crime thriller, and it's set around the world. So the first book is The Girl Who Ran Away, and that is set, I think it starts in Africa, Tanzania, goes to India, Goa, India, then goes to Canada, and then it ends with going to Europe. So that's my first book, and I'd love to give maybe 2 copies of the ebook right now. And I do apologize, I live in Canada. The borders are a little rough to get over these days, which makes
shipping is ridiculous.
Crazy. Otherwise, I just hop across the border and I get everything in my mailbox.
There you go. Okay, so we got 2 of those. That's The Girl Who Ran Away. That's really generous.
And I have the first book in my Merciless Murder Mysteries private detective series. Same character, but 10 years older. And now she's a private detective in the United States. And the first book is Merciless Legacy. And it's set in also the White Mountains in New Hampshire, but it's during the fall. And the detective gets a call about poison pen letters by the caretaker of a remote mansion in the mountains. But when she goes there, she finds a dead body or 2, and then she has to figure out. And of course, there is a storm that cuts them off, and she has to make sure she and her friend remain safe. Alive, I guess. And also save the other people in the mansion before the killer gets them. I love writing murder mysteries because I just sit there and I go, hee, I wonder what they'll think.
I can see you doing this. I got to take this question down. I keep seeing it up there. So you're going to give 1 of those away, right?
Oh no, I'll give 2 of those away too.
2 of those also.
Ebook as well. Again, with apologies for not having the print book ready. Even I don't have the print book for some of my books yet.
Yeah, it takes a while. It does. And I'm going to do my normal giveaway that I like to do, and that is a $5 Amazon gift card to the readers that go to my author page and share this video. And tag me in the video in your share post so I can see that you shared it. And by doing that, you are entered in the $5 Amazon giveaway. So this has been a fantastic chat, a brilliant chat. I love chatting to you. I could do it for another hour, but I do want to hand it over to you for a little bit and just say the final words of our chat.
Ooh, thank you for having me. I enjoyed. This is like having a cup. I'm having my cup of tea.
There you go. Cheers.
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 I hope everyone who's here is feeling the same way, like having a little fireside chat with us. And I feel terrible I haven't got back to comments. I'm trying to find a way to comment to everybody, but I can't. I think I need to sign in. That's the problem.
Yeah,
So
what you can do is they're usually on my author page. If you want, I can send you the link, and you can just go back after the live has ended and just go down the comments.
I will do that. I will. Yeah. I think I'm already in there, so I will do that. So my apologies for not addressing all the questions, but I will definitely do that.
Right.
And I thank you for being here with us, and for the fireside chat, Tina. Talking to you is like talking to an old friend.
I love it. I do.
I do too. So thank you for
we're in my home and we're having a cup of tea, right?
And a natter.
Gotta have that natter. But the comments are mainly going to be my author page, not the group.
Okay.
It's private. So a lot of them go to the author page where they don't have to give StreamYard permission for their name. But I will pick winners for you this evening. I'm going to feed this unsettled dog behind me that's like, come on, Mom, it's after 6. Your chat's supposed to be over. And get my dinner going. And then I'll announce the winners and I will tag you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And this has been so much fun. And keep me posted on the next book. And I'd love to have you back.
Oh, and same here. Let me know how your book goes. And
I will, definitely. And if you ever think about it, in my group, Read More Books, I don't, but I have authors that come in and do Tuesday takeovers. If you do takeovers, I'd love to have you in.
Oh,
thank you. Okay, Ellie. Time's up. All right. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Tikiri. This has been so much fun.
Oh, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tina. Take care.
One more thing before I go. If you think about it, put your website up. Did I put that in the comments? I'm not sure. If it's not there, put your website up so people can find you.
I will do that. Thank you. Take care. Have a good dinner and a good walk.
Oh yeah. Good night, everybody.